What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I am joined by Mr. VIP, Frankie Washington. How are you doing today, sir?
I am infinitely awesome. Thank you for asking. How are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic.
Woo, got that out the way. Got that one out the way. Nailed that one.
Now that that's all settled.
If you can't get any of it right, get that part right. I got that one.
Everything else is downhill from here.
Welcome to the show.
But if you don't know anything about All Things Super, every week we take a piece of superpower TV, movie, even trailers. We watch it, we react to it, we break it down, we review it, and we answer the question, is it super? Is it?
That's it.
We'll find out. But if you like that, you can subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version, you can find us on all of your major podcast streaming services. Just search for All Things Super. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod. This episode.
No.
What?
And we like reading the comments. Oh, I forgot, huh?
We'll get to the comments part. We'll get to the comments part.
Reading comments.
We'll get to the comments part. But for this episode, we're going to be doing a sort of mid-season review for season 6 of Rick and Morty. We've gotten 6 episodes in. They're taking a little bit of a break. They're not going to release a new episode until the end of November 20th to be specific. But yeah,
who signed up for that?
I mean, everybody who watches the show.
I mean, who sanctioned that? Who?
Adult Swim, probably.
When this mid-season stuff started taking shape, man. Because we used to get straight full episodes of shows. It was like binge watching, but without binge watching. We used to run it all the way through, and somewhere along the line, I've seen all these mid-season breaks start coming on. They started doing it to some of your favorite shows, like ER and all those other hit shows that was on, those other networks.
Out of every show that you could possibly name, you went for ER?
Yeah, because, Denzel's came up on ER, man. Also, Clooney. What you got against ER? What do you got against doctors?
Nothing against ER. What? But why ER? Did ER ever have a mid-season break?
Eventually, at some point, they started. That's what I'm telling you. They started adopting these mid-season breaks into these seasons. Thank God that they did, because man, y'all heads would explode. But it was like binge watching before Netflix. You used to get the whole season.
It wasn't binge watching if it was still on a weekly schedule.
Well, yeah, because thank God for shows like The Young and the Restless.
They had breaks too. No, they didn't have breaks. They just went on for 50 years.
Continuous storylines. Yes. Got a lot of people through hard times, and all those other soap opera shows keeping the world together, because they still talk about who shot JR. Anyway, welcome to the show. We're talking about Rick and Morty.
Wasn't that Dynasty?
It's not Rick and Morty.
Well, no, it's not Rick and Morty. You're the one that's bringing up all of these old ass shows.
All I'm talking about is stop doing these mid-season breaks. Let us get to the end of the story. We don't need a break. We good. We come on, let's go. But if you guys need a break,
we don't have a choice.
Basically, that's what it boils down to. I want more Rick and Morty, man. This is an awesome show. It just is. It challenged the parameters of the spectrum of reality and questions of why are you that heavily deep into the show. But, it's just that good.
Well, before we get into talking about details of each and every episode that we've gotten so far, of course, it's full spoilers, so we have to hit them with the spoiler warning.
5, 4, 3, too. I feel like this is gonna be a thing. Just kidding. That is your official spoiler warning. You have been told that if you haven't watched Rick and Morty at this current point in time, episode what, Spider?
We're going all the way up to episode 6.
Oh, well, clearly you like us and we like you. Thank you. I love y'all, to be honest with you. So, welcome to the show. What?
Nothing.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
Whispering sweet nothings into the ear of the audience.
They know who it's
But obviously, you're very compassionate about Rick and Morty. So tell me what you're thinking about the season so far.
Hey, man, listen, Rick and Morty has not disappointed me since the first episode of coming back. I was excited they're coming back. Again, so many questions, so many answers that you're looking for, and they kind of took a mid-season break in the season because you notice that the portal gun and all the portal fluid has been broken since Evil Morty sabotaged the fluid, and all the Ricks died. Basically, all the Ricks, and keep in mind, they were stranded out there on the Citadel until Space Beth came and brought them home. So how awesome is that? We got to see Space Beth again early. We thought that we were going to see her later in the season. We got to see her right there in the beginning. And we're seeing the Sanchez kind of households kind of come back together and stay grounded and deal with like season 1 kind of things, because it was a more family oriented storyline telling, equipped with the possibility of something multiversal happening. But it was more family things. That's why the episode that made Rick and Morty go viral, it's this weird family dynamic that I can only have positive memories of you. That's not realistic of a family. You're going to have some negative times that your brother or your sister did some obscene thing that make you want to call him an asshole, right? You got to have a situation that you're not going to have all happy times. It was a family dynamic storytelling in a family in the universe where anything can happen. They did an amazing job capturing that. And so to bring it back to the family stuff, while we're sitting here thinking about where's evil Rick, where's evil Morty, what's going on with Bird Person and Bird Person's daughter, guess what? Focus on us again. It's amazing. It's amazing how it's written, because it's like, okay, it ties you back in because you still want to get those answers, but it's still entertaining enough, the things that's going on, to make you entertained. I'm just saying that's what I thought.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. No, and I agree. I feel like just like you said, they took it from this grand level in season 5 because you were going to different planets and different dimensions. Rick having his adventures, Morty having his own adventures. We've gotten to so many different episodes throughout the past few seasons where Morty is trying to come into his own as a multi-dimensional adventurer, and he's trying to take control of some of the adventures that they go on and doesn't want to just be following behind Rick anymore. He kind of wants to have a say in what it is that they're doing. And we get to the beginning of this season and we see how we've kind of reverted back to, like you said, sort of the family dynamic. We're getting Summer more involved now that we have Space Beth. Beth is getting involved as well, because now Beth and Space Beth share this commonality of they're comparing and contrasting their lives as to how much things would be different if Beth would have gone on to those adventures with her dad rather than stay at home with Jerry. And basically take care of the family. And so now it's almost every single episode is dealing with another member of the family and then the family as a whole. And so you're getting all of these different adventures, like you said, on a more grounded level. Grounded in a sense of, there's still a lot of chaos going on and everything that's going on, but it's on a grounded level as they're not having to leave this universe in order to experience these adventures. And we see that in the latest episode 6, and they don't even have to leave the universe, but still we're having otherworldly forces come into this universe, come to this planet, and it's still we still have to deal with it because just some things I don't know, it's just like Rick is a magnet pulling all of this stuff towards him. Even not this episode, but episode 5, Final Desmithation. Rick wasn't even trying to be a part of anything. They went to Panda Express trying to have a nice family dinner. Rick was basically just minding his own business, and lo and behold, Jerry eats a fortune cookie, and it basically just takes Rick's entire day because the family was going to go to the zoo. And Rick didn't have anything to do with that. Rick wasn't taking part in the zoo. He wasn't being a part of any of this. It would have just been Rick doing his own thing. But lo and behold, Rick can't have a moment of peace because there's always something else going on. But no, even if you watch the previous episode, I think the last Rick and Morty episode we were review was episode 2, talking about doing a Die Hard. And since that episode, I know I said that the Roy a Life Well Lived portion of that episode, I didn't particularly care for that portion of the episode. But since then, episodes 3 through 6.
Whoa, he was a hater. Who said that? Who said? I heard it. I heard someone say it. I couldn't see who it was. I don't know.
You do realize you're on camera, right?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Whoever
you do realize
that was.
That,
don't.
We can see you.
Booing is not nice. Don't do that.
As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, every single episode since then they've gotten back, true to form to the Rick and Morty formula, and I just feel like they've gotten back into their groove for the season. And every single episode since then has been enjoyable. I've been thoroughly enjoying the season, and I feel like they have contributed their brand of humor to everything. You have the humorous parts, the intellectual parts, the parts that just make you sit back and go like, what? And it's just
there's a incest baby, and they reminded you of that too.
There's been a lot of incest going on this season.
But it's out there.
But yes,
will he take shape? And
Naruto is still orbiting the planet. They will not let you forget that.
He's going to be a part of this. I can't see how he won't. Maybe he'll be Adam Warlock or something, because they're clearly not mad at taking shots at Marvel.
No, and especially in this last episode, they had a good 3-4 minutes where they were just kind of going back and forth, talking about you humans love making your Marvel movies. Why don't you go and do more of that? figure out this whole Ant-Man thing.
Oh my God, shots fired. Man, that was hilarious.
Are not pulling any punches on how they feel about the society's consumption of Marvel movies. I feel like I feel like there's been a reference to an MCU project at some point through every single episode this season.
Yeah,
episode 6, they just leaned into it.
Yeah, when someone had the X-23 claws.
Yeah.
And Jerry is clearly in a Iron Man-ish suit. And they talked about not the guy with the helmet. Rick Morty even called him on it. He was like, are you pretending like you don't know who Iron Man is?
Who was that for?
It was hilarious. I was like, these guys are really taking shots. Why say still another writer? Stop. Well, then that's how we got Loki, so I can't really be mad. Which we reference is
right.
Okay. What?
But no, just like we were saying, there's just been a lot of little now it's the incest going on in the show. We got Beth making out with herself, having sex with herself, and Jerry wanting to try it too. To in the post credit scene of episode 3, he finds another Jerry and just like got to test it out. So he just plants a kiss on Jerry, like, all right, and they just shake hands and walk off.
Well, you're the reference that he made about Sleepy Gary. He's like, but he's not real. So how did it happen?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. If you're not watching Rick and Morty and catching these jokes, you need to lie down. Just let them wash right over you instead of trying to Drax it.
Instead of trying to Drax it?
Drax has reflexes that are great. So if something was to go over his head, he would jump up and catch it.
Okay.
So instead of trying to Drax it, let her just wash over you. And that was meta. Rick and Morty, man. Listen, which episode was your favorite episode?
I think I got to say the Night Family was my favorite episode so far this season.
Really?
Yeah.
Just wanted to see food get scraped into Rick's mouth.
I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying the fact that you pulled out that particular part of that episode. No, I understand that it's gross. Why would that be my favorite part? Why would I like it because of that?
Oh, I don't know. I just throwing that out there.
Saying. No, that's not why I like the episode.
Okay. Well, tell me why you like that episode.
No, the reason I like the episode is just because we were talking about before how there's this changing there's this shift in sort of a leadership dynamic, because before Morty was Rick's sidekick. Morty's always been Rick's sidekick. We even see that in episode 6 when Rick goes to talk to the dinosaurs, Rick still brings Morty with him. Rick didn't have to bring Morty with him. Morty didn't really have anything to do with the dinosaurs. Morty didn't have anything to do with Rick going out there, because Rick was just basically trying to get them to leave. But Rick still brought Morty with him. So we can see that Rick is still obviously dependent on Morty being by his side, even though if he doesn't really realize it. But we see that in the Night Family episode, even when Rick is not present, the family sees Summer as a leader. The family sees Summer as the one who is going to lead them as they go through whatever wacky adventures or whatever kind of, problems or shenanigans they get themselves into. This wasn't because this is their subconscious body. This is their body when they're asleep. So these are their subconscious thoughts. They didn't have a conversation about it. They basically just nominated and Summer's the leader. And so I like that they portrayed that, even though they didn't portray it in a conscious way and it wasn't a spoken thing. But we see that Summer is the one that's in control. And I want to see actually when that's going to manifest into the waking world, into where Summer is really going to, and we've already seen that in episode 1, where, like you said, Summer had the X-23 claws and she's, basically showing that she's a badass. She can handle herself. Episode 2, Summer's doing the Die Hard. She's running around Rick and Morty and the machine. Die hard. So we see that she's not afraid to step up. She's not afraid to get her hands dirty. She's not afraid to do what it needs to be done.
She went down there to Olympus. What did they call it? Yeah, that one. I can't say it. Atlantis, to get Mr. Nimbus horn by herself.
Right.
Summer, the dependable one.
And so
that on a t-shirt.
But so I'm interested to see how that's going to play out in these later episodes in the season. If they're going to make that come to fruition, if that's going to be a plot point or anything. Because I know we've already gone through the episode of Morty being jealous because Rick was leaning on Summer more and more. So this is not a new revelation. Summer has been sort of handling her own from the episode where Rick and Morty had to go in. Well, Rick and Morty had to go into Rick's battery in order to figure out why it wasn't charging anymore, and they left Summer out with the car. That was sort of
Summer
like
safe.
Right. That was like this Summer's first kind of exposure into what her grandfather was doing and how it's affecting the rest of the world, and how she has to sort of handle that when they're not around, because Beth is in, I guess, some kind of denial about it, or just some kind of ambivalence about it, to where she's doesn't really focus on what it is that Rick is doing. So she kind of just like, if I don't see it, then I'm not worried about it. You're taking my grandson out of school. I remember
she used to drink a lot more then too.
Yes, she did. She did. But I remember it was like the very first episode, I think it was, like, she was chastising Rick for taking Morty out of school, and that has since become a non-issue. To the point to where,
with so much on the grander scheme of things, it's really not even.
Yeah.
But
it's so funny.
Hop and leave this dimension. It's like Rick and Morty is they're so cleverly done, man. Because it seems like in the infinite multiverse, when you should care about nothing, and as we meet Rick, you can see he really cares about nothing. We get this backstory about what happened with his family, but there's an infinite number of yous, and you know what you're doing, and you just kind of don't want to deal with it and kind of do your own thing. You still love science, but it's like, that's a lot. So you get to C-137, or you think it is. It could not be. It could be Rick Prime. And you get this horrible story that's wrapped into this whole world of not time, but multiverses and dimensions and still outer space and things. And this, again, you're a scientist. You're augmenting yourself. You don't care about nothing because your heart's cold and you lost so much. But at the same time, we have watched Rick evolve. He's starting, or if he had not always, care about his family. And they have started out with Morty, but by extension, he's brought in everyone, including Jerry. He doesn't like it, but he's gonna. We've seen him multiple times go to the extent to save Jerry. Dab on him. Go to the extent of save Jerry because he doesn't want to disappoint Beth. For theoretically kids that's not even his. I'm just saying, because in his backstory, Beth was there in the explosion.
You're right.
Is Rick in a simulation? He hates that. You think about it, all those things that we've seen that Smith family go through, episode after episode. We dealt with clones, time dimension swapping, universe swapping. They had to kill their doppelganger. No, they went to a universe where the probability of them being together was at that exact point when he died. Think about the math on that he had to do.
Just another Tuesday for Rick Sanchez.
Hey, the guy is the smartest man in this. It's a good show. It is a good show.
Another thing I want to talk about is that the augmentations of Rick, they're just, it's like every episode he's got a different part of him that he's augmented or that he's modified, that he's kind of showcasing.
More now than before.
Yeah, more now than ever before. And especially in episode 5, when they were going into the Fortune 500 building, we saw so many different, he was in spaces like Inspector Gadget. Just like he he pulled out first. What when they get into the building, they're in the truck. Not even when they get into the building, when they're going back to Panda Express, and he's going because he's thinking that they're modifying the fortune cookies. He goes into the building and he's pulling out these guns, and he's fighting the people, and he's of course almost invincible at this point. But we see,
I believe he could take his hair off and stab somebody with it.
I would not be surprised.
And just be bald for a second and just put his hair back on.
I would not be surprised.
That's the world that they created. I mean, you're really looking at anything is possible.
Yeah.
And for a multiversal world where all bets are on, the stakes are high at any given point in time, come on and take this ride and watch what Rick Sanchez does. And the Smiths.
One of the things that we talked about when we were talking about with Rick Prime and how Rick C-137 would be able to stop Rick Prime, because you take two Ricks. Basically, Rick is a being as he referred to himself, he is a godlike being. He has powers, he has knowledge beyond any mortal person. So you take two Ricks who are in and of themselves anomalies. There's no one else like Rick except for another Rick. So you take two Ricks that are going against each other. How does either Rick come out on top? And we were saying that, the only person that would know how to defeat a Rick is a Rick. But since Rick would know how to defeat a Rick, he knows what the other Rick knows. So still, how do you...
There goes your paradox.
Exactly. How do you overcome that paradox? And I think that what we saw in Final Dismissation, the reason that at the end of the episode, Rick was so pissed because we saw that Rick ate a whole bunch of fortunes, and he spit, the whole premise of that episode was that you eat the cookie first, then whatever is written on the fortune is destined to come true. And
I've never heard. Shout out to them for making that a thing now, because that's probably a thing now. Probably a thing.
I don't know. Maybe. I hadn't heard that either. But so Rick had a handful of fortunes that all said different things, and one of the ones that he had in his hands was that you will make a new friend. And so we saw in that episode that until your fortune is resolved, you can't die. That was the power of the fortune cookie, which is why he used Jerry as a human shield, because until Jerry had sex with his mom, he was he could not die. And the fact that everything was pulling him towards, like, it became an inevitability.
Get him, Thanos. Get him, Thanos. Get him.
But so we know that this conflict between Rick C-137 and Rick Prime is coming. Having that fortune in his back pocket, being immortal, if that fortune were to never come true, would that have been his ace in the hole to be able to defeat Rick Prime? Because at that point, because Rick basically said, I was immortal until you said, thanks for being my friend. Or, or signed it your friend or whatever. And so,
which makes you hate Jerry.
It's satisfied
it's been canon.
Right. But so now it satisfies that fortune, so he loses out on that immortality.
But at the same time that we say this, think about the episode where your favorite, the Night People, Jerry was a saving grace because they were done.
His relationship with Night Jerry.
Exactly. The one that he probably kissed, but hey, maybe not.
Well, he couldn't have kissed it because that was still his self. That was his same self, just between him being awake and him being asleep.
Why did Jerry go back to the Jerry daycare? And why are some Jerrys touching other Jerrys?
That I don't know. I don't have an answer for that one.
That's
But at least they have protocols in place in order for just any old Jerry not to be able to waltz into the Jerry.
Oh my goodness, that is horrible. Jerry might need help, but he was a saving grace because the Knight family had him.
Yeah.
Just because, and Rick was being real petty about it. And just like you got to think about it, it's my creation, right? But on the other side, there's like Summer's in charge, and it's not going to go the way you think.
And not only that, but Summer outsmarted him.
Oh, she did. when that stay awake suit ran out, and you just think, yeah, we did it. Sleep set in. Hello.
You're right. It's like, did you really think that this was going to stop me? And it's like, what do you do at that point to where when you think, because of course you're the smartest being in the universe, of course you think you're smarter than everybody else, but that doesn't mean that you're not predictable.
Shots fired, Rick Sanchez.
So
he probably got something for
that. Probably, but
you can understand it too, though, because how much. Get the contrast, the augmentation versus Rick Prime. We seen him get cut.
Yep.
He's nanotech, liquid metal, or something that his augmentations has gotten to a point that if he's not a god, that he's a liquid. he healed so quickly, and Rick is still in the tech phase. So we're watching Rick become Prime Rick again. The show has many possibilities.
We've also seen Rick get straight up shot in the head and just bullets not do anything.
But yet still we're riding for him. Now here's the thing. And I'm gonna say this, and I promise I wasn't trying to start anything. But if we see Rick die and then go to like an ancestral plane, I know this beef with Marvel is real, because if that's, because I'm just saying, they go everywhere. I mean, dimension, is it not just another dimension? The ancestral plane? I mean,
I feel like that goes against everything that Rick has. Like, because I don't know if Rick is atheist or agnostic, but I know he doesn't believe in God. He's gone on record to have a vehement dislike or distrust or distaste, but basically he doesn't follow any type of religious doctrine.
He killed Zeus.
He did kill Zeus.
Let's not forget he got that in his catalog. He killed Zeus.
So if
I'm on a planet with a baby mama that's just screaming,
if there is some type of ancestral plane or some type of afterlife, and Rick dies and goes to that plane of existence, I don't know what that would mean for him. Like, because I don't know if he's fathomed. Well, I'm sure he's fathomed, but I don't think he. I don't know. It's this whole thing, like in, of course, to bring it back to MCU, how Thor was saying, your people call it magic, we call it science, and right. Rick is kind of in that same vein,
Right.
But I mean, he's also had to deal with the devil, because someone used to work for the devil.
This is true.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Welcome
but
to the show.
Like you said, if they do
kick the devil ass too. Just go ahead and throw that out there. That's two. He done kill Zeus. He done kill the devil.
But like you said, if they do go down that route and they have an ancestral plane, or not even calling it an ancestral plane, but they just make it like some Valhalla, the Duat, ancestral plane, or whatever they decide to call it. I guarantee they probably just have like a black man with dreadlocks, kind of like Heimdall, just standing there, and just they won't call it, they won't directly reference the MCU. But if you watched any other Marvel movies, you know exactly what they're doing. And
that's just beyond clever. And they're not afraid to take those shots. And it's personal. They keep stealing their writers.
They took well, not necessarily directly at the MCU, but Of what?
What
Oh, the
writers?
writers? Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I think it took more than two.
But yeah, they take shots at all kind of celebrities. It's like there's no holds bar for the writers of Rick and Morty. They had a whole episode about a Gwyneth Paltrow type figure, and I forgot what her name was. Oh, Janet Padro. So I mean, they're not shying away from who it is that they're talking about.
You would never know who that was.
Exactly. But
I saw The Rock in the last episode. You can't tell me that wasn't The Rock.
Why he look like a damn caveman in a tuxedo with the sleeves ripped off? And he just looked like he was roided out.
Hey man, I ain't saying all that. I'm just saying that was The Rock.
You can't look at that character, the way he drew that character, and you can't tell me that he didn't look like he was roided out.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just saying. If it wasn't The Rock, that it made it look like The Rock.
That was absolutely The Rock. That was absolutely supposed to be The Rock. I don't know why they made him look like because The Rock dressed nicely. The Rock is more often seen. It's like The Rock has two looks. Either he's in a suit or he's in a gym and he's working out. But The Rock actually dresses nicely. I don't know why. And The Rock's not even in the MCU, so why are they coming after him?
It's the Oscars. I mean, of all things that Rick could have wanted to host the Oscars, was hilarious. And I love how they, reference current events and things that's going on.
Everything is scripted. Well, everything at the Oscars is scripted. That's a lie. Okay. That was the line. I'm not saying that that's actually true, but I'm saying that the line in the show was that everything at the Oscars is scripted.
Okay. What? I don't. That's the line. What do you want me to say? That was the line. Okay. But at the same time, there's so much going on, and your expectation is that we're going to get to this. And I love how they took their mid-season break in the show, because it's not dealing with the external things that's going on. It's dealing with more family drama. And like I was saying, Rick has really come around and started to bring his family on these journeys, on these adventures. It's when they dimension hopped again and had to find a place, that family unit, I think, was there. So we got callbacks from Rick and Morty. They're referencing themselves. Now the family has to bury their bodies in the backyard. And we're in this right now, right? Especially since the portal gun is broken and the Citadel's down. This version of the Smith family and the infinite number of versions of the Smith family, are they the only Smith family now? That's the question that I have for you, sir, because we've seen all those Ricks die. Mm-hmm. No one's there at the Citadel. It's abandoned. It's destroyed. Are there any other Ricks left? We know there's Mortys left. They even showed the episode where the Mortys had got rampant and started turning on each other,
right,
eating each other. But all the Ricks are eliminated from, what we're calling them evil Morty still, or Morty Prime, which was referenced again in this episode, or the latest episode. Because the rift was there,
and the rift's closed now.
The rift's closed now. Is that how we dealing with this?
It's so funny because
something going to happen?
I think so.
Morty's going to rip it open again?
No, I really feel like that is how they dealt with it, because this whole episode with the dinosaurs coming back and being so technologically advanced to the point to where it pisses Rick off, because they were able to do things that he said that he could do, but he just hadn't done yet. So they give him a new portal gun, a better portal gun, a portal pistol, to where they said when you shoot it, you can see through it instead of it being green goo, so you can see where you're going. And he got so mad that he destroyed it.
Right?
And Morty's like, why? This is a better portal gun. We could get back to doing what we were doing before. But Rick doesn't want it because he doesn't want to have anybody that's better than him with anything. And to the point to where he goes and he's like, I'm not going to let you sacrifice yourself to make you seem like you're selfless, because I'm going to do the same thing, and it's going to be for my own selfish reasons. So you're the only way that you can prove that you're not just like me is to destroy this sentient rock that's coming from Mars. Why is the rock just like, like out of everything? It's like, because I guess the way he showed his graph was that for everything that is at the apex of intelligence, you have to have something that's the complete adverse of it. So this intelligent reptilian life of the dinosaurs created this sentient, completely idiotic race of rock creatures. So everywhere the dinosaurs go, the rocks come. And he said it was a self-selected enemy. So the rocks just decided, we hate these dinosaurs and we're going to try to destroy them no matter where they are. So so he gets the dinosaurs to, because of course they were trying to solve solve the problem through non-violent means. And obviously, you know, the way that they're showcasing in the show is that the dinosaurs completely improved on humanity's way of life, you know, solved world hunger, solved the capitalism, solved, you know, all of our energy crises, and basically just improved everything about Earth to where humans didn't have to do anything except live and exist. And we as humanity couldn't even do that. We're so consumed with problems and conflict that we have to have a sense of purpose. And I mean, I feel like I can understand that, because you have lived your entire existence for a reason. You know, you want to procreate, you want to have children, you want to have a family, and in order to do that, you have to work because everything costs money. You know, trading for goods and services, you make money to spend money, you take your vacations as a relief from working. And when you take away work and every day is a vacation, now every day, like, it's not a vacation anymore. It's just, now I'm just existing and I'm just here. So what is it do I do with myself? And I felt like people just couldn't, like the president, he couldn't handle it. And so, of course, the only thing that the dinosaurs did wrong was, in our eyes, that they did wrong, or in the humans' eyes on the show, was that they didn't have a plan on how to handle the situation with this rock, this meteor coming to destroy the planet. And so the dinosaurs felt that the only way that they could save humanity was to leave. So, and so all of the headlines about how immediately humanity reverted back to their old ways was like, crime is up 1,000%. And it's like, did you learn nothing in this peaceful life that you had? Food immediately became scarce again. You went from free everything to nobody has anything. And the show is so well written. It's so great. But you have this problem now. Well, not even a problem, but a solution to what we had as a problem with the portal gun being broken, them not being able to travel multidimensionally, and we had the rift that was open in the universe. But now, because the dinosaurs were being just as petty as Rick was, they closed up the rift. And I think that is the resolution. I feel like that is the most Rick and Morty way to resolve a problem. And just see, like, just that's the end of that. that we're not going to revisit it in universe. We're not going to revisit it. We're not going to talk about it. It was an issue. Now it's not. And it's like, how else could you explain that without having technologically advanced dinosaurs? It's like, it's so ridiculous, but it's ridiculous enough to where it makes sense for Rick and Morty. And I feel like only Rick and Morty can do that.
They laid the groundwork. So now, guess what? We're getting zany again. Because you've seen at the end of the mid-season, the portal gun is working again.
Through all the portals. He's throwing up, going through the portals.
It was horrible. They killed a poor kid. You're not ready for this. That's what they're really telling you. They're subconsciously telling you you're not ready, Morty. We're Mortys. We're not ready for this.
No.
And I can't wait to see where these guys are going to go with this, because they're clearly having fun. And you can tell they're having fun. And I have fun when I'm watching it. It's a fun cycle. It's a fun circle. They probably charge extra for it. You shouldn't get involved with it if you don't know like the rules and dynamics of it. But if you want to, you see those things at the fair, the circle. What was your mind on? What were you thinking?
I'm just laughing at you just doing this and not explaining what the hell you talking about.
I seen a guy with a yo-yo doing something like that, and he was awesome. I liked and subscribed like you guys should do. Right there and over there. It's in this area somewhere. Hit the subscribe if you like what you see, or if you just need a friend. I'm friendly. You didn't answer the question though. I was waiting for you to answer before I interrupt you. Are the Sanchez families dead? Are we looking at like the core fam?
No, I don't think so. I think there are other Sanchez families. I feel like, because it couldn't be that was the only one that was there. I think that was the only one that fit their specific situation that they needed for that point in time. But I don't believe that that's the only Sanchez or the only Smith family that's left. Now, as far as...
So there are more Ricks out there.
I don't think there are more Ricks, but I think that there are more Smith families. Because if you think about it, the Ricks that were in the Citadel, of course, for the most part, out of the Ricks that Rick Prime didn't kill, or Rick C-137 didn't kill in search for Rick Prime, the Ricks that were at the Citadel, the reason that he created the Council of Ricks, all of those different Ricks, they had families, right? They had a Diane, they had a Beth. So at some point in time, those Beths may have met a Jerry, they had kids, there's a Summer, there's a Morty. So there's an infinite number of universes, or potentially less than infinite at this point, because we know about the Cronenberg universe, we know about all of the other universes that have kind of wiped out. But I think that for as many Ricks as there were in the Council of Ricks, there's a potential to have as many Smith families. So I don't think that all of them
we had to swap out Jerry's.
Right. And so we see that even at the Jerry Berea, there's still all these other Jerrys. So there's still other Smith families out there.
Okay, so you're standing on what you're saying. There's just not a plethora of Ricks. I'm asking, are there any more Ricks?
No. I think all the Ricks are dead. I just think that as far as the Smith family, because we saw that in the beginning of the show, season 1, episode 1, Rick came back into Beth's life. So these are Ricks that have potentially left their Beth, have not returned. So they, are not a part of their Beth's lives, but that doesn't mean that the Smith family itself doesn't exist. So I don't think that there are any Ricks left, but as far as a Smith family, I think there are still Smith families out there that exist.
Okay. Well, I guess it's down to Rick C-137 and then Rick Prime, wherever he
That's
may
what I
be.
think. Yes.
And they wrote that in the show. Great writing. Dan Harmon is over there just giving out degrees. I'm just saying, there's a team.
What?
Writing. Just saying, the way they carry multiple storylines at a time, the way that they have told a consistent storyline through all the chaotic things and still kept it interesting, the way they pull pop culture in and have things historically relevant and accurate and still be entertaining. The turkey episode, the fact that the turkey could see this, it messed the guy up. It was too much. He went and tie that into the military and tie that into the benefits and tie that into.
But who else? Man. Who else creates these multiple storylines and ties them all together? The MCU.
Hey, what are you saying? I mean, are you saying?
I'm just saying that I can see why Marvel wants to take these writers from Dan Harmon, because obviously they are talented. Obviously they have a knack for being able to create these different arching storylines and being able to put in these different, plot pieces into these different episodes. You have something that'll show up. I was watching a breakdown and they were talking about how in one of the episodes in the first season where Summer told something to Rick and Rick told Summer, "Your opinion means very little to me." And we got that callback 5 seasons later where it never visibly bothered Summer, but it came out from Night Summer. Night Summer says, "I'm sorry, Grandpa, your opinion means very little to me." And it's like, unless you're that type of person that goes and, breaks down these episodes and like figures out all of these different little plot points and everything, it's like the average viewer won't even remember that. But the writers remember that. The writers have, the writers know the lineage of everything from the very first episode to the most current episode. All of the little tidbits, all the little Easter eggs, all the little notes, the little anecdotes and everything like that. And they have that. And the encyclopedia of Rick and Morty, they have all of that information. And you have to be talented. You have to have somebody with the vision and the foresight to be able to connect those tissues together. And I'm not comparing either one to the other, but the only other company, the only other organization that is doing that right now besides Rick and Morty is the MCU.
Probably why I like both franchises or the both properties, IPs. And plus they're taking shots at each other. It just keeps it in good sport.
Well, you can say each other. I don't feel like MCU is really coming after Rick and Morty outside of taking their writers.
But they're taking their writers. But
I mean, I'm sure they aren't specifically going after Rick and Morty writers.
I think they are sniping writers.
Kevin Feige is just sitting there with binoculars. Yeah. Oh, he got another one. We need all the information on this one.
That episode, get him. You're in the back of a van.
He's sitting there watching the credits. He's watching the credits, looking at the list of names. Oh, that's a new one. He must have something to do with this one. We need to get on top of that.
You need to start telling Kevin Feige secrets so they come knock on your door.
I don't, Mr. Feige. I don't want you to take me away.
Hey, if Dan Harmon is anybody, he's Professor Xavier, and Professor Xavier said something that's very prominent in the X-Men movies that Kevin Feige was a part of. He said, "I feel a great," and I'm butchering Sir Patrick Stewart's rendition, but he said, "I feel a great bit of sorrow for someone who comes to this house
looking for
trouble." He has an amazing team of writers over there, and they're balancing storylines just MCU level. It is that good. It's funny how they complement each other.
I feel a
I'm
great
sorry.
swell of pity for the poor soul who comes to my school looking for trouble.
Does that make Justin Roiland Cyclops?
How does
If
that
Dan
translate?
Harmon is that okay? If Dan Harmon would be Professor Xavier, Justin Roiland would he be Cyclops?
Would he be Cyclops or would he be Magneto?
No, they're in the same team for this show. But
I
clearly, Justin
mean,
has branched off
we
and done
saw
his.
in
Hey, I talked
X-Men
about
First Class,
so
Professor X and Magneto used to be on the same team. I'm just saying. Just
this
because
is
Justin Roiland wears glasses, I don't mean you have to pigeonhole him into that Cyclops name.
whoa. Whoa. So that's how that feels. Okay, I got you. That's a stinger. That's a stinger right there. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the stinger out. I don't want the venom.
So we're at
All
the
right.
mid-season portion of the season, I should say. But so for these first 6 episodes, and I already know the answer to this, but for the sake of the gratification of the audience, as we do, first half of season 6 of Rick and Morty, Mr. VIP Frankie Washington, is it super?
Goddamn right, it's super spider. I don't know. You don't understand why you had that. I understand what you said and why you said it and why you did it because goddamn it, this is the name of the show. But at the same point, y'all just here for us. We know them. You already know this show super. You've been watching it. We've been telling you to watch it. We did so much talking about it. You probably was watching it before, and you coming over here to see what we're saying about it. And thank you. Thank you for stopping by. I love y'all. I love reading the comments. I just want to throw that out there. You know, when you scrolling and you see interesting perspectives on how they were feeling about that, they probably think we don't read them, but we read them.
We do.
I just want to throw that out there. Anyway, Rick and Morty. Is it super? Come on, man. You already know the answer to that. What's your favorite episode? That's what and why. That's what we want to know. Because
We're talking about of the entire series, or just we talking about season 6?
why can't they have both?
I'm just asking because I'm just saying right now we're talking about season
No.
6 right now. So we asking them
We're talking
what's the
about
episode of season 6?
yeah, but I talked about episode 1. So we talked about Space Vet coming
But
back. We're talking about
this episode is a season 6 mid-season review.
what?
What do you mean what?
Okay, I mean,
Right. All I'm asking is for clarification. So we asked for, I don't want somebody to put in the comments that my favorite episode is the dinosaur episode, and then they come to realize, I didn't know that they meant all of the series. So I just want to give clarification to the people if we're talking about season 6 or we're talking about the entire series. That's all.
but if you say what their favorite episode was, who's to say the dinosaur episode wasn't their favorite episode?
I'm not saying that there's not.
And now
I'm
you're
not saying that
saying
it can't
they
be
have
possible. I'm saying is that
you
I
thought they
want
couldn't
to
figure it
set
out.
the parameters. That's what I'm saying.
That's what's wrong with y'all. Y'all always trying to block somebody in. Listen, this Tesseract is exploding, okay? Into
You're gonna bring the
rainbows.
MCU into the Rick and Morty episode.
Yes, we do multi-dimensional verses,
Dan Harmon gonna come for
ancestral
you.
planes. I welcome the conversation. I got a lot of shit that I want to clear up. Hell yeah. I would love to have a conversation with Dan Harmon. The dude is a genius. And it's all entertaining. It's so much that listen, science is boring to people that don't like science. You got action in this, you got logic and thought-provoking things and fourth wall breaks and family dynamics, and you just don't know what's coming next. You have no idea.
Incest babies.
Why would you bring that in?
If
you talking about me, you talking about me.
You talking about not boxing people in. I gotta make sure that everybody knows what they're getting into. If you got through this part of the show, and you don't know what you're getting into, you gotta let the people know what it is that they're getting into.
This Rick and Morty. The question is, has it gotten into you? Yeah. Hey, it's gotten to a point now. It's gotten to a point now when you see old designs like the sack face people, right? They clearly got that from Aliens. The ones that grab onto your face, and they had the whole life cycle of shit in the egg and then dying. Yeah. No, that was a different one. Yeah, the star people thingy. So when you start to see designs of like those in the background, you're like, hey, that looks like a Numbus, a Fumbus. What's a Fumbus? You know the Fumbus?
Yeah, there's there's so many names of so many different things in the show.
Yeah, again, they're making up words. But
yes, I understand that, and I don't mean I can remember all of them.
No, I'm just saying every word is made up, but I got you.
True.
Let the people go home, man.
But let us know in the comments what's your favorite episode of Rick and Morty. Let us know what you thought about so far, what you thought about season 6. We got 4 more episodes. Again, Rick and Morty will be coming back November 20th, right before the American Thanksgiving holiday. So that'll be some fun Thanksgiving conversation. You're sitting around the table having some turkey. They already had a Thanksgiving episode. Just realized they already had a Thanksgiving episode.
He seen him come back as a turkey and then turn into Rick, so he got him pardoned again.
Right.
He does it every year.
Every year.
We just so happen to go on the adventure that he did it on. It's such a good show, man. I am sad that they take mid-season breaks.
I'm just excited to see what they come up with after the break, because I know the last 4 episodes, it's going to be craziness, because they're going to go back. Like you said, we're not ready because they got dimensional travel back. So who knows what it is that we're going to see, because as of right now, we've been stuck on Earth. And we've still gotten all of this craziness in the last 6 episodes. And so who knows what we're going to see in the last 4. So we're definitely looking forward to it. But again, let us know in the comments below what you thought about the season so far. Let us know what your favorite episode of Rick and Morty has been. But if you like the video, go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version, don't forget you can find us by searching for All Things Super on all of your major podcast streaming platforms. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod. But we gotta wait.
Like the comments.
We gotta wait a month, and we talked about the comments. But yes, we like reading the comments.
I thought that was what I could try. This is my contribution, man. That's what I'm doing.
Your contribution to the episode is being a co-host of the show. That's your contribution.
So why can't I give more? I'm just trying to give.
Oh, you want to be host? You want to be host? You want to take over the whole thing? That's what you want.
Hell no. Not at all. I think you're doing an outstanding job, and y'all please let Spider know the outstanding job that he's doing, because he's the one behind the scenes.
I'm just a man with a microphone. I'm just a man with a microphone and too much to say.
That sounds like a t-shirt too. I like that. Let me write that down. We gotta go, y'all. Where's my pencil? I need a pen.
Until next time. Jesus Christ. We'll see you in the next episode.
Get out of here.